What do you consider to be a problem character in a video game? For me, I think it's actually got a bit of a simple answer. A problem character is a character in a video game that has had lots of work put into it as a player base, has become fully integrated into the game, but has a reputation for being one of the most difficult to balance characters that, regardless of whether they're F tier or S tier, piss off most of the player base into requesting constant nerfs, making rant videos, or banning the character. And though the character has a hard time finding their place and balance, there is no way to get rid of them without either overhauling or reworking their entire kit so they lose their core identity in the process but stop being an issue, or just delete them from the game. And option B is probably never going to be taken because it is months of hard work just to be tossed into the wind and a crush to the players that, regardless of reputation, like that character. I'm willing to bet right now that you're thinking of a specific character as I talk about this. A character that just pisses you off every time you see them in play in your matches. A character that you wish nothing more than to be deleted from existence and the devs behind their inception to be incarcerated for crimes against humanity. Today, I'd like to talk a bit about problem characters that exist in Marvel Rivals. Before we get started with the video, my name is VexHex, a reluctant Marvel Rivals player and amateur YouTuber. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. If you don't enjoy it, you're welcome to leave a dislike. I have the extension that shows dislikes, so please know that you will be showing your distaste to me. Without further ado, let's go. I can already think of quite a few problematic characters on the Marvel Rivals roster right now, and like I said, more than willing to bet you're already thinking of one, if not several. But I'd also like to emphasize that this kind of issue isn't specific to Rivals. I mean, it's not even specific to hero shooters. To keep on track with the constant Overwatch and Rivals comparisons, I'd like to bring up a few of the examples from Overwatch before we get properly started. I also like to think that reminding everyone of this will help paint a picture as to why this issue is so difficult to handle. Doomfist, Mercy, Widowmaker, and Sombra. You're welcome to think I've left somebody out, but think that these four are by far the most problematic characters in Overwatch, and for good reason. Even so, I only really feel the need to talk about one in particular, the only one really worth talking about today, especially because I think she shares similarities to the problem characters that you can find in Rivals. The worst defender of all, and despite where she is on a tier list, is banned the most in every single rank on both PC and console and in almost all regions. Sombra, who after a million patches, reworks, and design changes, continues to be an annoyance for your average player to deal with. Invisibility, skill shot that also applies dot, hack for bonus damage, and a high DPS SMG and mobility. A fast hacking skill shot assassin character that has an easy time diving backlines, flanking, and picking off weaker players or camping spawns. Sombra has gone through such a long series of changes to attempt to keep her core identity intact while providing relief to the greater player base, but enough is never enough. Her traits, the ones core to her character, cannot be changed without making her into a new character. So, in she stays, to be locked behind permabans forever with minimal changes made. Sombra is so hated that there are communities on Reddit dedicated to clips of her getting killed while invisible. Sombra is so hated that if you win games for your team while playing as Sombra, you're probably still going to be flamed and blamed. Sombras will either be insanely, obnoxiously goated, or useless idiots that run all over the place. Hate to play with her, hate to play against her. Alright, so with Overwatch's core problem characters out of the way, what's the point I'm trying to make? Despite the fact that these four characters have been, for so long, absolutely shit on and criticized for being frustrating, annoying, overpowered, difficult to be with or against, no amount of patches, changes, or reworks are ever going to fix them because they have player bases that love them and the devs don't want to toss out hard work in favor of ensuring that the metal rank players have an easier time playing the game. Which begs a question. If they crush metal ranks but are in F tier and high rank, are they problematic? Depending on who you are, your answer might be yes or no. It really just depends on what you value more, player satisfaction or game balance. Personally, I'm on the side of player satisfaction. Despite everything, a game should be fun and enthralling, and not have characters that make you want to tear your hair out. I think it's a hard decision to make, but a necessary one for developers to find the answer to what they're looking for when it comes to balancing these problematic heroes. So what does that mean for Marvel Rivals? After all, I haven't named the problematic ones yet, have I? Well, here's what I think. The problematic heroes in Marvel Rivals are Black Panther, Spider-Man, Luna Snow, Jeff the Land Shark. Calm down, calm down. I already know there's some people vehemently disagreeing with me right now about my choices, but allow me to make my case first. I think these 4 characters share a lot in common with what's annoying about the problematic heroes from Overwatch. I think that they're frustrating and annoying to deal with and end up unsatisfying to play with both on the enemy team and on your team. Allow me to make my case for each, then I'll make a case for why I didn't include certain characters that I know a lot of people still take issue with. So for Black Panther first, I mean, come on. And before we really get into it, if you're one of those, oh, you're such a baby, BP's so easy to deal with, I have no issues at all, he's so simple, blah, 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 blah. Great for you. But remember what I said about how the majority of players take precedence over the lovely few that don't have a problem, because I think it's better to value player satisfaction over balance? So if you want to disagree with me, disagree on the points I'm about to make instead. My issues with BP are about his overall design. There is nothing about him I don't think is insanely obnoxious, and BP mains know it. Why do you think most BPs have alt account smurfs with usernames like on your supports or in your backline? Because they know that they're excellent at sneaking up, dashing in, deleting somebody in the blink of an eye, and getting away. Even if they get caught, slept, trapped, blocked for half a second, BP is one of those heroes that always seems to manage to get away with just a little chip of health left. He is a very fast, mobile, dashing across your screen hero that the average player has a hard time tracking. He also requires a lot of awareness to deal with, and that's already like 40% of people getting killed. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be aware, just that most casual players don't have the awareness of higher skilled players to be dealing with people like BP. For example, my duo and I, we usually play support together, and when there's a BP around, we're constantly on our toes, checking every angle he could possibly be coming from, and using skills preemptively to protect ourselves and fend him off. The worst part of BPs is how unrelentingly persistent they are, so no matter how many times you defend or kill them, he will always come back and eventually secure the kill. Now, we usually deal with him just fine. The problem really comes down to we have to put so many of our resources as supports into keeping this guy away, mostly because in the midst of all this, nobody's turning around, putting him in check, or trying to hunt him down, defend against him, etc. We're good at keeping ourselves alive, but he soaks important time and attention we could be giving to others just so we don't get killed by him. We're at a point right now where BP still has a high ban rate. Despite how he may perform in higher tiers, it's not a surprise that a lot of people elect to just get rid of him. He introduces so many problems and has you constantly playing on guard and checking your flanks. BP causes a shift in the dynamic between teams just by existing, a lot like characters like Widowmaker or Sombra. These type of characters have proved time and time again that player bases hate dealing with these types, and we're once again going back to an awkward position where he can get nerfed and do nothing, or get reworked and lose identity. Spider-Man is actually, I think, in an extremely similar boat. He's hypermobile, usually attacking backlines, pulling people off ledges. He is nowhere near as bad as he used to be. He used to be a lot worse to deal with, but I don't think it really matters, because at the end of the day, he is annoying, he's persistent, he's hard to kill, and he can get away with 1 HP. He can activate his ult to prevent himself from losing a 1v1, and if he dies, he can get back to the fight faster than anybody else. It's almost like he didn't die. There isn't a moment of reprieve from the constant attacks of a Spider-Man. If he's on your team, he's probably feeding his ass off, and if he's on the enemy team, he's constantly picking off your backline. It makes him undesirable to play with or against, but if he's buffed, he'll probably become a living nightmare, and if he's nerfed, he is utter dog shit, useless, and not worth it. I argue, however, that Spider-Man could be changed into being a slightly less mobile brawler type hero and retain his core identity as Spider-Man without being a launched across the map hyper assassin clip farming ledge pulls. Next, I want to talk about Luna Snow. Despite being a Luna Snow main, I felt the need to include her on this list because while I don't think Luna herself is on the same level as these guys, I think her existence is more like kind of like an umbrella for supports. Like for example, I didn't want to name off Adam Warlock or Ultron and the state of supports supports, my other videos already kind of covered this, but I felt like Luna Snow herself just went to prove why the support role sucks, and a lot of people are tossing the blame on her because she has never been nerfed, is always getting buffs, has a strong assault in the game, and has a solid kit. She can deal damage, she can do lots of healing, she has a CC ability, she has mobility, she dwarfs the other supports by miles. The only reason you don't see her getting banned or people asking for reworks is because her concept is annoying and what it means for the support roster is frustrating, but she herself isn't inherently frustrating like the other problem characters. People don't want less Luna Snows, they want the other supports to be as capable as Luna Snow. She wouldn't be getting as much negative feedback right now if 7 of the 9 supports were equally as strong. She is a why aren't you maining her hero, and that does cause frustration, just not ban worthy frustration. She's a good pick to get rid of, but most people are much quicker to ban someone else like BP, Wolf, Spider-Man just for being annoying. The only support I truly do feel like including is Jeff, who has already been through a rework that did nothing to address the fact that he is a useless hero mained by useless people. And I know I've definitely pissed some people off with that statement, but it's gotta be said. Half my games are tossed by people with Shark or Jeff in their usernames, with Lord Jeff icons doing absolutely nothing except getting angry and raging in the VC, trying to tell other people what to do while they play this useless Shark with a shitty ultimate. It doesn't matter if you get a 5k with it. Unless you pull that off during overtime, most teams can bounce back before you get your next ult. Other supports have a hard time healing when they have to play with a Jeff. Jeff's kit allows him to stat farm and get MVP with ease, overinflating the ego of Jeff mains. His ult is frustrating, his selfish nature is frustrating, his ability to save himself and his tiny ass hitbox when he's swimming under is frustrating. Man, he was even worse before his rework, but now he's just fucking useless. Even the Storm team up is just a gimmick that hardly ever wins games unless you're playing against bots. I am a certified Jeff hater. I hate everything about this character. He breeds frustration and toxicity, and I hate him. I have no suggestions for a rework. They've already done one, and people are still in a constant debate over whether he is good or not. I refuse to accept him being good. Even if an eternity or one above all Jeff comments on how awesome and excellent he is, I will still wish and hope that they die, and all Jeff mains do too. Nothing will ever stop me from this. I will drop all concepts of positivity, being a good sport, and spreading more positive feelings when it comes to this useless fucking Shark. You know, I guess it's just hard overall. Consider on what to do with characters like this. If Overwatch, a game that's been running for a decade or so now, still has issues with characters that it's been running since the beginning of its debut, where's the hope that Rivals could possibly figure out what to do with these characters? And they handle the issues in a creative and satisfying way. No matter what, mains of that hero will never be happy, but they will adapt because they still love the hero. All the Jeff mains said that the changes were terrible and it killed Jeff, but they continue to play him. I'd believe the same for Spider-Man or BP mains. I think the circumstances have to be particular when it comes to characters that invite the feeling of frustration, unfair gameplay. I think you could add Wolverine to the list if you really wanted to, but I think the 4 I mentioned are a lot more deserving. I know a lot of people feel similarly regarding Squirrel Girl as well, but I think it's just crazy. I do play Squirrel Girl myself, and you can call me biased, but I have never played a game where a Squirrel Girl was a dominant force unless the enemy team just threw themselves into her nut, and they often do. Single file through a narrow corridor and don't change anything about their gameplay. Either way, all of this is just my opinion as a flex player. Maybe you have a different interpretation of what a problem character is in Rivals, or you have an entirely different list to mention. I'm curious what you have to say or think about mine, and if you want to offer up your own list, please share it. I want to know which characters you consider to be absolutely undesirable to be with or against, and which make you want to bang your head against a wall. And also, what's the answer? Nerf? Rework? Deletion? I'd like to offer up one of my rework ideas. For Spider-Man, I'd like to see his movement nerfed and reworked. I think it'd be a lot more interesting to integrate it into his combat moveset and still give him some mobility, but it's more selective. A swinging kick that propels you forward and lets you knock people out of the way and up into the air. Or one web zip on a cooldown. You could zip to the back, web swing through the enemy team, back to your team, and you kick them forward. Or you web swing through them and then zip back to your team. I'd still like to give him 5 or 6 web shots and the ability to pull, and then a melee combo. Maybe have his ult do something different than just be a Reaper ult. I don't know. It's a loose idea, but I think it'd be interesting to see him play more brawly than an assassin. What about you? If you have rework ideas, I actually really want to hear them and talk about them, so post them below. Maybe we can come up with some cool ideas and I can talk about all the rework concepts in a future video and discuss them to see which sound like ya cooked and which sound totally dog shit. Anyway, that's all I've really got for today. Thank you if you're new, or thank you again for returning to watch. Apologies on how long this video took to make. I had computer trouble for days, and once I got back to working, all my work had been lost and I was a little bit demotivated. But I'm back and good to keep going now. That being said, if you enjoyed the video, hit subscribe. If you want to watch more like it, I'd appreciate it. And if you want to drop a like, I'd appreciate that too. Links below for socials if you want to be in my community. Thank you and have a great day.